Hey Tackle Warehouse fans, Jake here with another ICAST edition of What's New at Tackle Warehouse. We have a ton of great stuff to talk about today, all released at the ICAST show 2025. This stuff's either up for pre-order right now, or you can sign up for the in-stock notifications when it's going to come into stock. If you missed last week's coverage, make sure to go back, check out the ICAST page on our website, go to our YouTube channel. We did tons of videos with a bunch of pros, a bunch of vendors, and try to cover as much as we could at the show if you really want to get in-depth look at a lot of this stuff. Some of this gear, like this loose stuff we're going to talk about, Strike King, we did full-length videos with those guys to get a really in-depth look at a lot of this gear. So we're going to touch on a lot of this stuff. We got a lot to go through. The first one here is the new KVD series of rods and reels. Now I just put it together just to make it a little easier to show. Does not come in a combo. So the new KVD reel from Lew's. This has got that all new Paramag brake system in it. So if you're not familiar, Lew's released a Paramag braking system last year in that Gen 3 Custom Pro, which is an insane brake system. It helps you make tremendous long cast and virtually eliminates all backlashes. So a really cool brake system. So this new KVD reel, Kevin Van Dam, one of the winningest angler of all time. So he's got a whole new series out, a little bit brighter cosmetics on it, brighter red. This reel's actually got an aluminum frame, I believe it's got aluminum side plate, and it's got a 95 millimeter handle on it. So bigger handle, and it does have that keeper, that little loose speed keeper thing right there on the side that you can flip in and out. Super handy to have. Smaller, more compact than the last generation of KVD reel. On the rods, we've got casting and spinning, of course, and on the casting and spinning, they all have that same number coding system, how they've had on the previous models as well. So you can get that. There's a GC5. Everything's numbered for graphites, the composite cranking and spinning. But whole new series of KVD rods and reels there from Lew's. The next one is their Accel series. Now on this one, I believe we have the reel, and then you can also buy the combo. So this one you can get in a combo. I believe the combo comes in, I believe around like 150 bucks. And this is a really sharp combo for that price point. But the reels come in at, it's either $89 or $99, but those ones actually have the Paramag brake system as well. This one's a graphite body and side plates. But again, you're gonna get that great braking system in this reel. It's amazing when you see those technologies that were previously in reels that were all the way priced up at like 300 bucks, and they make it all the way down to these lower price point reels. So all anglers can enjoy that great casting technology. So if you need just a reel, you can get a reel. If you're looking for a combo, they've got a bunch of options in that one. So we got another rod to talk about. This one is going to be from St. Croix. This one, I'm kind of scared to even touch it and don't want to break it. So on this one, this is the new St. Croix Legend X2. Now, this is St. Croix's flagship series of rods. So it's going to have their highest modulus blank. It's going to have the most premium guide train you can get. It's got a new reel seat that's it's their own material and their own design. It's got the new Trigon 2 handle on it. So for me, it seems like it's slimmed down a little bit, and it's premium cork, and it is a little bit more comfortable than the previous generation of Trigon handles. A bunch of technique-specific actions. I believe these come in at like 650 bucks. But if you want the ultimate in St. Croix, they're companies. They make the best rods on earth. So if you want the best rods they have to offer, you want to check out the Legend, the new Legend series. Casting, spinning, tons of different applications, whatever you want. But the lightest, most sensitive, strongest rods they're going to be able to offer to their customers. Comes a little Fuji keeper with it because they don't actually put it on the blank. But I'm sure during the show at some time, we went over to the St. Croix booth and we got the full rundown on this series of rod. If you want to get the in-depth knowledge from the guys over at St. Croix, they're really good at explaining how all the different technologies kind of link into each other. So we're filming this kind of before ICAST. I know it's coming out a week after ICAST, but we're definitely stopping by that St. Croix booth. So check out the videos over there. You can get kind of a more in-depth on that new St. Croix series. All right, let's get into some baits here from Strike King. A ton of new stuff from Strike King. This first one here, been waiting a long time for this one. We heard about it last year. We're finally getting to see it this year. This is the Strike King Hogfather Junior bait. So this is a collaboration with Tater Hog Custom Lures, and they're able to bring this high quality glide bait to the market at $44.99, which is amazing. So the Tater Hog Hogfather, or like the Hogfather Junior swim baits, they run over $200, and now you're able to get these at a much lower price point. And you know, it can be easier to get them. I mean, some of those high dollar swim baits, they're very limited production, and they're amazing, but they're really, really hard to get. This is going to allow you to get that quality of bait, that swimming action for a much cheaper price point, and be easier to get your hands on one. What's also cool about this, it's different from like the original Hogfather, is since it's made out of an ABS plastic and not resin, they're able to do a few more different things, which one of them is they're able to get ghost colors. So I don't have one here to show you, but they have ghost colors in the lineup, which you can't do with a full solid resin bait. There's also rotating hook hangers on there. So you get big fish on, you know, it's going to hold that, hold that hook in place and not allow that fish to throw that bait. So the Hogfather, the Strike King Hogfather Junior glide bait. Now you can jump on there and check it out at Tackle Warehouse. The next one here is it's the final copy weedless version. Now, when I saw this bait, or I heard about the bait, I thought it was going to be like your regular split belly style bait. Didn't think nothing of it until this sample showed up at the office, and there's one, and we said, oh, what is going on here? So inside the cavity is kind of a pivoting hook system that hooks the fish, but it folds back down in place, and it stays in that belly, in that little chamber in there, and it's held in place by a magnet that you can see on the bottom. So so now the new weedless model, it's going to be, once it's swimming in the water, going to be perfectly weedless, and then when a fish bites, it's going to expose that hook. It's going to fold up, hook the fish. Really cool design there. I've seen this on the past on some other swim baits that were out there on the market, and it's cool to see that style design over the split belly. The next one, another topwater I'm super pumped about, is the new Clickin' Chicken. So, I mean, a large profile bait, it is super wide. I mean, you can see how wide the belly is on this bait. It's gonna move a tremendous amount of water. And then it's got that plopper style tail, but with theirs, what they did is they added a magnet in there, and it's super loud. So, makes a ton of noise, so you're gonna get that one knocking and plopping style noise all in one. So this is the bigger of the two. There's a smaller one, and then there's the Bitsy Chicken, which does not have a rattle. It's a small little finesse style plopper bait. For the other thing we got from Strike King, we got a few more as well, but another pretty exciting one is the rattling Thunder Cricket. So Thunder Cricket, a great vibrating jig, and what they did with this one is they kind of went with this hybrid blade, and as you can see, if the camera can pick it up, it goes side to side. There's actually a rattle system inside that bill. So the bill's kind of made out of the same material as like a crankbait, and now you got those rattles going back and forth, so making a lot more noise. So now you got the vibration, now you got the rattle. It's gonna be great in dirty water or night fishing when you really want to cause a lot of commotion, just adding to the lineup with that new rattling Thunder Cricket. Some soft plastics. This one here is their Rage Hog. So they've had a few other baits like this in the past, different profiles. I believe this one is going to be a winner. One, the body is a little bit longer, so you're not gonna run out of space for running hooks in there. It's got a lot of meat to it, so it's gonna hide, and those ridges, it's gonna hide hook points really well. But when you separate all the flanges, they all have those cut kind of Rage style flanges on them. So all the legs are gonna kick really well, produce a lot of action, but it's pretty slender for being a big creature bait. It's not super wide and bulbous. So this is gonna be able to slip in and out of cover really well. Really nice creature bait there from Strike King. The next two, for all the scopers here, so Strike King's got a couple new scope baits. So what are the names here? There's the Sonic Coat, it's the Spotlight Split Minnow, and I forgot the name of this one already, and the Shimmy Minnow. So those two different minnow shapes. What's cool about both of these, so what they did is they actually have a solution in the plastic that actually shows up better on your forward-facing sonar. So there's a solution in that plastic that makes it return better on your graph. The different body shapes, the split minnow, it's really thin. It's got this little kind of forked tail on it with that kind of ring around it, and it just gets that tail to quiver and shake back and forth. This one's just kind of more your tail kicking, shaking style minnow. And then this one, the shimmy shad, it's a lot wider down here at the bottom with that ribbing on there, and actually the way they weighted it, especially with that pin tail, this one's actually made to roll side to side. So if you want the minnow that rolls side to side, go with this one. If you want the tail kicking action, go with the split minnow. Okay, from Yo-Zuri, we got a ton of stuff. So I think Yo-Zuri launched about 500 new SKUs this year at ICAST, so a ton of new stuff. So this first kind of round of baits is their Pro series of baits. So some shapes that might look familiar. This is a kind of a refined version of the dual hardcore glide bait, which is also a Yo-Zuri brand that a lot of people didn't know about. So the dual hardcore brand is one of Yo-Zuri's other brands. They brought that bait back over under the Yo-Zuri name, and they've got that glide bait. I believe this thing only comes at like 22 or 27 bucks. It's a phenomenal glide bait. They've reworked it a little bit. Premium hardware, some amazing colors. Yo-Zuri does a great job on their colors, but you get that nice wide gliding action. You can chop it. You can do kind of whatever you want with it. You can burn it. It doesn't blow out. Really good glide bait, especially for the cost on it. And then you have the Pro series of baits. And if I don't stab myself with those super sharp hooks, again, in the other finger, these are familiar Yo-Zuri shapes, but they've done some reworking to these baits. So these are the two jerk baits. On the inside, they've actually put tungsten weight transfer systems in it. So more weight, they're heavier, you can cast them farther, cover more water. And then they've also got these holographic finishes on some of the colors, and they've got some matte colors as well. You can really see, not only do they have holographic colors, they've also got some holographic bills. So this is a couple of the shad style baits. Again, they've had these this shape of bait for a long time, and now updated with those new tungsten internals. Cast them farther, but with this bill on here, we've actually listed all the colors on the website that has that holographic bill on it. It looks really cool. So you get that on like a jerkbait or a crankbait. So depending on the angle that the fish are seeing the bait, they can really see that shine off of the front of it. So a really cool design. And then they've also got their popper. This thing casts like, oh, don't drop it. This thing casts like a bullet, splashes, makes a ton of commotion. Again, got those holographic finishes, premium hardware on the outside. Really cool design, nice update there from Yo-Zuri. The next thing we got here is, I'm just gonna show a few of the colors. This is where a lot of the SKUs are coming from. So they've done a bunch of new colors in like a ton of their baits that are on the website. I'm not lying, there's hundreds and hundreds, and a bunch of them are these matte colors. And they did just a phenomenal job on the matte colors that even transition them into the bills. They look really cool. And it's like a matte finish over some like existing colors, like a sexy shad style color. They look phenomenal. Like I said, it's like 500 new products throughout their entire lineup of baits. And the last one, this is the one I'm most pumped about. So the Yo-Zuri Super Braid 9. So I've actually personally got to try this, I think 2 weekends ago. So this is a new 9-strand braid. And what's unique about a 9-strand braid, it's got 1 strand in the core of it, and then you have 8 strands wrapped around it. So a little bit different than your 4-strand braid, 8-strand braid. This does a couple different things. One, it's crazy smooth. So I noticed immediately, fishing in the ocean, deep dropping for cod that are like, 500, 600 feet deep. You got a lot of line out there and use an open face reel, and you have to level wind it yourself. If you've ever fished in the ocean, with more abrasive style braids, like a 4-strand, you got to tape your thumb or tape your fingers, or else it'll just slice right through your thumb. Don't have to do that at all with this stuff. It's super slick. It's like, it almost feels like mono going through your guides and when you're level winding it on yourself. Casting distance is phenomenal. It's got a little bit more body than some of your other braids. So it doesn't just fall over completely limp. It's got a little bit more texture to it. So flies out of your spool. and goes through the guides a lot smoother actually. And then the abrasion resistance is way better than braids before. So I've had problems with higher count braids in the past where the abrasion resistance wasn't there. I was fishing this down in the rocks, and down in the nastiest rocks in the reefs, super deep. Didn't have any problems with abrasion resistance. So overall, super excited to try this out on a bunch of different applications this year. Let's get into some stuff from Storm. We got a whole new series of baits called the Surge series. So we got a craw, we got a minnow, and then we've also got a frog. So this frog really caught my eye. It's kind of shaped like a hollow body, but it's not. It's kind of all injected in one piece of plastic with kicker legs on there, and with a big double frog hook. So these are all pre-rigged baits, come right out of the package, ready to fish. They come in singles, and really good price point on these, but great top water. Throw that thing out there, straight braid, kicks, buzzes across the surface, gets a lot of bites. The minnow actually comes in 2 sizes. So you got 2 different sizes, a bunch of great colors. That fin really acts like a weed guard. So it protects that hook point, gets it through kind of, grass and light types of cover like small bushes and things like that. So we got those new minnows, or the shad, and then the craw. This one pre-rigged as well. There's actually a lead head on the inside of this bait, or a lead tail, I should say. And since there's a flat spot, it keeps that craw kind of in that defensive position when you have it down there on the bottom. They've got some great colors in this. It's definitely going to catch a ton of fish. Okay, from NetBait, we got a bunch of, NetBait bait fuel finicky series. So a bunch of baits. This first one here is their, I believe it's the Sonic Pinch Craw. So small little finesse style craw. I'm pretty pumped about this one to kind of fish on like your finesse jigs and tiny little shaky heads, even like a really small drop shot. But what's cool about these is they have that hex material, that hex tech material, and it's infused with bait fuel. So you're already getting that scent, and you're getting increased scent dispersion from that hex design on there. So if you need a little finesse craw bait, they got you there. There's a couple little shad baits. This one here is your Sonic Glide. What I liked about this one is it's going to have a really finesse action with it's really hard to see that small forked tail, but they are flanged on the end, so it will kick. But I think that's going to be a good one for like your really small chatterbaits, like a small vibrating jig trailer. And then this one, I'm pumped about that one too, actually. This little shad bait, because it kind of has like a Huddleston style tail. It's like a wedge style tail. So it's not going to kick as wide as like your boot tail. It's going to be more subtle, but it's still going to swim back and forth and not just be something that's kind of in between like your plain fork tail that like people are throwing on like a jig head minnow and like your normal swim bait. So something kind of in between. I think it's going to catch a lot of them. And then you got the prop worm. So this one, it's like a 6.5 inch straight tail worm with that little prop on the end. So, or what they're calling a prop. So it is like a little prop bait shape on there, and that thing is going to move and kick and flutter and do all kinds of stuff. But it's going to be really good when you get this thing on a Nico rig and you're moving it through the water. Just that it's just going to be able to pull water and just make a lot more action. So really cool worm there. Like I said, all that stuff's got the bait fuel technology into it, so it just releases a ton of scent, helps you catch more fish. And I think it's time for our sponsored AFCO water break here. All right, let's get into some stuff from Gancraft. And don't get excited about this color because we're not getting this one. This is the only sample we can get our hands on. We're actually going to get a Ghost Chartreuse shad color. So this is the new Gancraft, I believe it's the 183 mixer. I believe that is the name of it. But it's basically built off the body of the 173 or 178 jointed claw, but it has a way different tail design. So it has that kind of hinged tail on the end. So you're going to get like a swimming action and gliding action all into one, which I think it's really unique. And it's going to be really cool just to change it up in the glide bait fishing. A lot more people are throwing glide baits now, and this is just going to give you a little bit different look. Excited to see that one come out. Then we got a bunch of terminal stuff from Decoy. We got a couple things here if I can get them on the camera here. So this first one, we got a new, it's kind of an old school style worm hook, but it's more refined. So like a long shank worm hook, got a really nice bend to it. It's kind of a modified O'Shaughnessy style bend, and it's got 2 keepers along the bottom. So really high quality worm hook, really made for finesse applications. You know, you can Texas rig drop shot with it. You can throw like a finesse, like a split shot or Carolina rig with it. Tons of different stuff, but really cool worm hook. And then the swivel ring, or the swivel split ring, if I can get this one up there on the camera, it's really tiny. So it's a swivel with like a modified like split ring style snap. It's really hard to see. Hopefully our camera guy can get that one. But instead of a snap, it's got this ring on there so you can switch baits out without having to retie, but you're also not having to deal with opening a tiny little snap and kind of weakening it over time. And sometimes, you know, like a cross-lock snap, and some of them are really hard to open. You got to use pliers. This one, you're going to be able to get baits on and off super easy, also without compromising the strength. The last one here from Ryugi, we got the slider hook. So much different bend than most of your hooks out there on the market. Now they've really kind of made this hook specifically for the back sliding style baits. So think about like your ICAST and maybe some of your heavy, the heavy scatter, like poop style baits. That's going to be a good one, a good baits for this style of hook. So they've orientated that eyelet and have that keeper on there to get the bait positioned on there to kind of increase that backsliding action to enhance it a little bit more than like an offset EWG style hook. So another hook to throw in the arsenal specifically for that, those styles of baits. Buckeye, got a bunch of stuff from Buckeye this year. This one is their new, it's their select spinner baits. I'm pretty pumped about these spinner baits. These are really nice spinner baits from Buckeye. One thing that I immediately noticed is, one, they have really cool color combinations, some that I've never seen before, and then these blades with that scale finish on there, just a little bit attention to detail and just something a little bit different, give you a little bit more flash, but all the other components on these things are really nice. They have hand-tied skirts, a 4-barbed keeper, really nice hook, and really, like I said, really nice colors, kind of long skirts that got that kind of more tails on them. Just a really good all-around, really well-made spinner bait. Super stoked about those. A pretty unique one here from Buckeye is that piggyback jig head. Now, when we saw this thing, we're like, what are you doing with that? So, of course, you know, it's going to be made for your scope applications. So you screw your soft plastic in. See if I got like a minnow here. So you screw your soft plastic in and you put them right there on the top. So that's where it gets the piggyback name. And it's going to dramatically increase that side-to-side rolling action. So that jig head is completely on top of your bait and not in front of it. So if you're really trying to get that action, that will probably turn just about any plastic into that side-to-side roll. And then we have the scoping jig head. And what gives it that name, I mean, if you look at the front of that thing, it's got that concave shape. And what I first thought with this is it was going to be made for forward-facing return, but it's actually made to kind of channel the bait upward. So if you think about it, instead of like a bill on a crankbait that would be facing that way to make your bait go down, it's facing this way to help your bait come up. So instead of, if you're fishing shallow water and you're trying to scope fish and not have your bait sink too fast, you can keep it in the strike zone longer and keep it up above the fish and kind of manage the top of the water column or manage the water above the fish versus being below the fish and rising to them. So just a different angle of attack and something I didn't think about. And you know, I don't scope fish, so I'm sure it's a problem that it's going to solve for a lot of people. Has a screw lock keeper on there. So overall, some really cool jig heads there from Buckeye. From Sufix, we got some new line. So this is Defcon. This is a fluorocarbon coated copolymer line. So copolymer lines kind of give you, a lot of benefits of, multiple lines in one. One, this copolymer, it's going to be a lot cheaper than your straight fluorocarbon. Also, it's going to have a little bit more stretch. So maybe in applications where you want some more stretch, crank in, maybe throwing a big swim bait, other techniques that you just want the line to give a little bit more, maybe a jerk bait. This is going to be a great option for you. And it's going to be, like I said, a lot cheaper than your straight fluorocarbon. But it's also going to have a lot of abrasion resistance. So it is fluorocarbon coated, which is usually what you give up when you go to like some other monos or copolymers, is it doesn't have great abrasion resistance. With that fluorocarbon on the outside, you can be able to kind of run it into some cover and it's going to be really strong and not fray up as bad as some of the other lines. So kind of a good blend all around line that you can use for a lot of stuff. Going to be really strong at a great price point. A couple of frogs here from Scum Frog. So the first one here is the Bass Rat, and then they've got the Leapfrog. Scum Frog, old school company of kind of modifying some of the designs they've had over the past. But what I've noticed about these Scum Frogs is the plastic is crazy soft. One of the softest frog plastics I've ever seen. And with like the old school Bass Rat, it's like old school style lure. They've got those cool printed colors. They're all mouse and rat colors, but that really pointed design is going to slip through cover really well. And then also it's going to walk really well in open water, especially with that single tail. So a couple new designs there from Scum Frog. From Seviin. So this is Seviin's new flagship reel. I believe it's the GX. Let's see if I find it on the side. The GX7 reel. I hope I got it right. But this is Seviin's new flagship series of reel. I just remember, reading on the description on this. It's got a full aluminum frame and then an aluminum side plate on the reel handle side, and then a graphite side plate on the braking side. And on the braking side, it's actually got an external brake adjustment. So you got a magnetic brake adjustment on the outside, and then you can actually open it up, and there's a 4-pin centrifugal on the inside. So just tons of adjustment. You can really dial this thing in. With 2 different braking systems, you can kind of fine tune your application, whatever you're throwing. If you want those jigs or crankbaits, into the wind, with the wind, whatever. There's just a lot of adjustment with this reel. Got a really deep spool, holds a ton of line. What I noticed on the outside, I took a second to figure out what was going on there, but a carbon fiber reel handle, but it's got these notches cut into it. So you can, they're actually hook hangers, which is genius. I mean, I don't know how many people put their bait right here on the frame of the reel, and it always tears up the reel, but put your baits right there on the outside. So super cool design there from Seviin. Can't wait to hear more about it once we get out to the show. From Duckett, we got this new, the new sway hair jig. So a new hair jig, kind of a smaller, more compact profile, not your big, giant hair jigs, but they've built it on that sway jig head. Now this thing rolls side to side really well because most of the weight is up high, and it really forces this thing to like roll side to side. So now you're getting that rolling action in kind of a compact hair jig. So just seeing that action, transition to more and more baits. All right, ton of stuff from Big Bite. First one here is the Fuzzy Sensation Stick. So another fuzzy bait, kind of a soft stick profile, and it's got 2 little pinchers on it. So just more secondary action, but I know these things it's all about the secondary action with these, with all the little skirts on there. Just different profile and stuff fish haven't seen before. A couple new worms. I know these actually, I think these just showed up in stock today. So by the time this goes up, hopefully they're not sold out. This is the new, the Thresher worm. So getting his name because it's kind of like a Thresher shark tail. Just kind of a different take on a worm. So you can drop shot this, you can throw any kind of finesse application, throw it on a shaky head, and just a little bit more, a little bit different action than like your curly tail worm or like a straight tail worm. They've got this new cliffhanger worm. So this is made out of their sensation formula as well. So it's got that scent already embedded into it. So a 6-inch kind of finesse style worm designed by Cliff Perch. So a drop shot worm, shaky head worm, anytime it gets tough, but with that sensation formula, it's got the scent embedded right into it, which is really cool. A couple baits here. We got the new Fighting Craw. So this is the only one that we got. So they've taken that fighting the Fighting Frog arm design that was released, I believe maybe 5 or 6 years ago, and they put those arms onto a more beaver style bait. So more geared towards flipping and pitching into heavy cover, but those arms are going to alternate kicking action, give a ton of action, and just give you a lot of bites. The next one here, we got their new minnow. This one's called the Rollerama. So I'm guessing you figure out what this one will do. So a minnow style bait with the wings on the side, weighted, put your jig head on there, throw it out there, roll side to side, and go to town with that thing. last up, this new jig. This is the LS football jig. I'm super pumped about this one. So just seeing this football jig up close or out of the package, a few details I didn't notice before. So these are premium jigs. They come with a Gamakatsu hook on them. They're hand tied. The head design's kind of got these ridges on the side. It's made to help keep that jig pointed upward. And then you see all that protection around the line tie. It's like recessed in there, but almost has like a keel in front of it. Protect your knot from getting damaged. Great colors, like I said, hand tied with wire, so you're never gonna you're never gonna damage. Or you're never gonna lose your skirt. You know, sometimes with the rubber banded ones, sometimes you put a jig on and it's old jig and it just falls right off. Never gonna happen with that thing. So really nice new jigs from Big Bite Baits. Last up, let's talk about a couple things from Bubba. So first one here is our heavy duty wire cutters. So everything, it's got the Bubba grips on there. It's got the corrosive resistant materials, so you can throw this in the salt water. Leave it on your salt boat and it's not going to get damaged. But if you need to really cut through some stuff, heavy gauge hooks, if you're doing like swim bait modifications and you're cutting those big hooks off, great pair of pliers to have around, either in the boat or the garage, and it has those nice grips on there. Comes with a nice sheath. And then we've also got new nets. These new nets this is the smallest size. So we have small, medium, and large size, but these are all aluminum construction, corrosion resistant. They deploy really easy, really cool nets. Got the Bubba grip on there. And then, they've got the PVC coated netting material and they float. I did not think this was gonna float. So floating design net, so you don't drop it off the side of the boat and then lose it. So really cool, really high quality nets from Bubba. These are really nice. And then last up, new measuring board. So again, another high quality product, all aluminum construction. So especially for the kayak anglers that need the little tournament ID. So it's got the holder on it right there. So you can put it in place for kayak tournaments. And then if you don't need it, you can just take it off. And you got a really nice, nice anodized aluminum measuring board for your boat. All right. I think that does it. It's going to wrap it up for this ICAST edition of What's New at Tackle Warehouse. Like I said, if you missed any of the coverage, head on over to tacklewarehouse.com, go to our landing page. You can check out full interviews from a bunch of these different companies that we've got over there. You can go to our YouTube channel, social media, wherever you want to check it out. We've got coverage of a lot. We got a lot more coverage on all this stuff on our website. If you want any more information on this, you can click the links below to take you to the product page. You can check it out. You can pre-order. You can sign up for in-stock notifications. But thanks for watching. Head on over to the website for more information.